Thanks to the Department of Culture. I'm really excited to be here this evening. It's always a pleasure to be back home, share my work with Bermuda, learn more, try to give more, and be challenged. So, Born a Sufferah has definitely been a challenging process. I asked my dear friend Bernsey, should I start A or should I start B? Which side? She picked A, so I'm going to start with A. Do I need this mic? Yes? Okay, I'll keep the mic. What if we lived our lives like the ways that we dance? And when they find us all together, wrapped up in our heads, what if we wage our last wars with the beautifully black organized chaos of our carnivals, our gumbays, and our junk canoes? Would our rocking and running away allow us to put up resistance for just a teeny weeny little more time until the honey in the love comb wears off and we wake up to find our sore feet stepping aside, tiptoeing cells, standing in the middle of the road, unmasked and double troubled, staring down a cannon of a tank at 2:45 before dawn, and badgering to go home, but tempted to touch our AKs, ready to face the wrath of Babylon's full attention. There won't be any confrontations with Robin Hood tonight. So are you in or are you out? Living in one big hustling system loopholed by the saddest days of our lives, in which our mothers always slave and our sons stay in prison because there ain't no justice for the poor and all the signs say no way out. What if we could rock and command on the bottom of the sea, undrowned and undisturbed by our dangerous abilities to use the noises of the midnight crowd, our daytime bacchanals, and the distant tears that warriors sometimes do cry, to raise the black maternal armies and the children of Jah who restlessly sleep on the ocean floor, and have them come burn down Babylon and all of its sweet lies. For is that not what lighters are for? That's how I start this book. That was for Barris. And that's kind of the point of this book. If you want to understand the insurgency in dancehall, we have to look at and listen to and think through, oh, my dear friend, just walked, didn't even see you. We have to think to the Barrises of the world. But that's not why this book is titled Born a Sufferah. That would be Bounty Killer. Sounds good? Should it go up a little bit? But obviously, we know Bounty. This is the Diwali. I love Bounty Killer. This book is about the global insurgencies of black people with dancehall as an archive. So tonight, I want to make a few things clear. This is not a history of dancehall. All right? This is not a history of reggae and dancehall in Bermuda. This is really about sound system culture as an archive of black radicalism in what I call the global lone 1990s. I'll explain what that means in a second. Born as a sufferer in the 1970s, dancehall is often framed by its lyrics of hypermasculinity. This has distorted its intertwined engagement with the politics of its older sibling, reggae, not parent, older sibling, reggae, which is largely Rastafari's critique of the West as being of a biblical Babylon. But both strains grapple with questions of a decolonizing and migrating Caribbean, hard times, concrete jungles, and promised lands. But if reggae's radical soundness of black liberation repatriated east beyond Babylon's rivers, then to what extent did dancehall imagine Zion amidst the contradictions of the uptown mansions of the gully-sided West? In the global 1990s, reggae and dancehall sound systems curated sites of black culture insurgency across the world. Stretching beyond the bombastic business of moving crowds with music, they were amplifiers and receivers of Caribbean political epistemologies. In the dancehall, these cultural innovators remixed Western modernities and compressed timelines of black radicalism, fashioning myriad sound-driven Zions to move against the traffic blocking of Babylon street sweepers and lookout fetishes. The frequencies of sub-oath and clap black thrived in nightclubs, night bingies, and favelas, where subversive musical practices were documented on dub plates and globally distributed upon cassette. An expensive grassroots audio archive of black insurgency, sound system culture was a radically complex space of Ubuntu placemaking, sonic cartography, and black internationalism. So that being said, I'm going to throw a lot of music at you this evening. Sometimes it could be a bit much, but this is what it is. This is a book that's meant to be listened to. It's meant to be heard as much as it's meant to be read. So, first things first, what is a compressed timeline of black radicalism? It looks something like this. Today, as you know, is also His Majesty's birthday. This is an article from Bermuda Recorder, our newspaper, formed by Garveyites, the 1920s, discussing the pending invasion of Ethiopia by Italy. To the right, Haile Selassie, standing on an unexploded Italian bomb with combat boots on. Folks just don't like clogs, but folks just like clogs. Clogs are military combat boots first. That's why Jamaican gangsters were wearing these boots in the first place. But what does a compressed, radical soundscape sound like? The rhythms are very important. Lyrics are late. The rhythms are first. Oh. Run it back. Could we turn it up just a little? Is that possible? Just a little bit. This is Gone in Silk, as you know, Charlie Chaplin, Cocoa Tea. Now, if you know, this rhythm is called the stalag. We're just going to move just like that. No long talk. The stalag is a rhythm created in the early 1970s from a television show that was about a German prisoner of war camp. It's called a stalag. So Jamaican sound producers create this rhythm called the stalag, and you see this album cover that's impersonating a prison that also could be thought of metaphorically as Jamaica as a prison, but the prisoners are using reggae to escape and cause all kind of mayhem, as we see. These sound engineers created these rhythms with such intent. They wanted the listeners to time travel, literally. And so the rhythms that were created right, they stand the test of time because they were designed to do so. And so you take a rhythm like the stalag, you have decades of history compressed to a song that could be played with other compressed songs that create other possibilities, whether it's dances, memories, rhythms have names. So the rhythms are very important. Once again, by the time you get to lyrics, like the lyrics aren't even first. So we all know the stalag, right? Yeah, right? Just an answer, right? This rhythm, 80s, 70s, 90s, you could run this today. Movado could jump in this rhythm this weekend, it's gonna just bust. These rhythms travel over time, including the reason why the book is titled Born to Suffer. Bounty Killer, his own version, one of his most popular, most rambunctious songs, Go Now, or Gun Down, which actually is a song from Petulia Clark, but we don't really talk about that. It's really her downtown. This is Bounty Killer performing a version of Go Now, which is a song about political strife and politicians, but it's performing a song in Bermuda in 1995, literally a few weeks after our independence referendum. So it was going to talk about that. Now, Bounty Killer also, the idea was Bounty Killer was going to clash Beanie Man, right? As we know, Beanie Man and Bounty had this big feud. But the artists on this occasion were like, they pledged that they weren't going to clash anymore. Bounty Killer says his clash was against the Queen, the Empire, not against Beanie Man. But here is Bounty Killer speaking to Bermuda's politics in '95. You know, what you see looks different from what I see. Okay. Okay, we'll go from there. Y'all can hear that.
But we are from Jamaica, we have freedom of speech in this country. So we talk anything come to mind. So I want to listen now when you're acapella. Look up to the hill, from where it's coming, hell, this is the way I feel. Politician are gonna melt. Please up me clocks and me buckle my belt. Also go New York, make we look in ourselves. Politicians tackle like the grocery on the shelves. More nice them don't get no conscience. The guys do in parliament. Every day them gonna be get a week some long statement. And GCT done 15%, them must run out.
Just one more second. It's gonna switch. Sister Toya likes that.
It's a bit confusing how the politician plays when all the people them chose him. Because if you don't know, say that we can move him. One like the people, them a try to abuse him. Oh, he want to use me and we can use him. We need better education and more housing. You know the cabinet starts so much carousing. Look who this guy tears come from the eyes to say, we blood for us or die. Anyway, you got to live.
One more verse.
I said to a politician I want to take a video. What else look on us? Boy, you're going to down on the road and I'll tell you. Heard me just get the gun. Say no one I will.
Okay, that speaks to the potential of dancehall to be weaponized. Just like that. That also speaks to the potential of black culture to be radicalized or weaponized when it needs to be. I find this to be really, really striking. Because when we think about black politics, right, we usually frame politics as, or at least in terms of what happens to black folks. Things happen in the 70s. That's the anti-colonial era. That's when things happen. All right, well, now we're moving up to 80s and we're thinking of Reaganomics. But the 90s, I want to also clear of the 90s as like a space of political ideas of this rupture. But we're going to unpack that a little further. Growing up in Bermuda, raised in sound system culture, loving dancehall, loving reggae, born to a father who was a jazz musician, a grandfather who was a calypso musician. I've always thought through the world of music. I didn't realize how much sound system culture was a part of how I engaged my own work. Through I'm not sure why that's happening. Through Black Palm Bermuda, Paulo's Diaspora Pacifica Black, I thought through dancehall and reggae and sound system culture and sound clash, but this was the first book that I really honed in and was pretty open about what and how I approached the music. So the book is very much driven by the epistemology of sound system culture. That simply means the ways of knowing a sound system culture. What's important in sound system culture? Dancehall time, something that I mentioned already, these compressed times that are developed through rhythms. The rhythms are always important. Dub plates and black world mapping. This is where the rubber hits the road. Dub plates. Take a space like Dub City International, that we love Dub City, right? You go Dub City, find sound clashes, Root Boy, Spanish Town, but also Travelers, right? Also, Eddie's, King Eddie's. I mean, you all know the songs. Let's hear some big songs from the 90s. The Silverhawks, the Stern Loves, Jah Roach, Kilimanjaro, right? You just say Jaro, now I was thinking about Africa and mountains. Like, what a rambunctious name to call yourself, Kilimanjaro. But in these song clashes, right, or these dub plates where songs are trying to defeat others, these dub plates carry the names of neighborhoods and locations, often Black Caribbean spaces that do not show up on our colonial maps. So in a cassette that has a clash from Travelers or Renaissance, you might hear about Tivoli Gardens. That's not in the colonial map in school. What is Tivoli Gardens? Or Utica Avenue, or Brixton, right? Or Putnam, or Manchester. So these discrete sites of blackness are showing up in these dub plates as an unintentional way of mapping the black world, which may not seem like it's a radical innovation, but it really is. And this is an audio way of thinking of the world through sound. That's a marvelous innovation when the white world was telling us that the black world doesn't exist. So think about that for a minute. And this is what makes sound system culture an archive. Because thousands of these cassettes are now digitized by lay DJs, SoundCloud, maybe in somebody's basement. By the way, you'll have some cassettes, let me know. I'd love to take them off your hands. But it's an archive of radicalism. And so, as you'll see, part of my method in this book was literally thinking of moments of black crisis and listening to cassettes of those moments to see are these sound systems talking about contemporary politics. And hopefully I can get to some of that, because I call those are my dub plates. Like, as an historian, my dear friend, Dr. Vincent, chair of the College of Woodson Institute at the University of Virginia, also a Summers fan, respect, big up. Yes, I see, I know. Just wait, about a week, we'll see what happens about a week. As a scholar, my primary sources are my dub plates. My secondary sources, other books I read, other colleagues I'm in conversation with. I'm juggling 45s. I'm playing other people's tune. I'm building a vibe. But when I want to settle an argument, when I want to show you who I am, I draw from my dub plates. One of my dub plates might be an audio interview of Paulu in Vanuatu, big dubs. So I'm always seeing my work in that kind of idea of sound clash and dub plates. Cassette culture is immensely important. Obviously, right? This is what makes a place like Dub City not just a store, but a literal hub of Atlantic black internationalism through music, through cassettes and other forms of material culture. Empty the magazine. That's easy. It's Vibes Cartel. When I have an archive, I just don't come to play or use one piece from it. I come to empty the magazine. So I approach my sources. I want to exhaust my sources, so to speak. Dancehall is all about martyrdom and life and death. Dancehall remembers its martyrs. This is a basic thing. We think of that as reggae, but as we see, this is also a part of dancehall. Finally, how I draw from the music is usually terms that may not seem like they have a sense of radicalism, but to me, I like to radicalize them or transform into tools that I need to do the work I need to do. For example, we all know this song. All right, big song. Y'all can move. It's all right. It's allowed. It's allowed. Just a sample. Serious thing. For me, exactly, right? I know. There's always one who starts, and I'm not surprised who it is. For me, traffic blocking also speaks to the state's attacks to block black radicalism. the state's attempts to surveil or disrupt black protests, black liberation struggles. I call that traffic blocking. The blocking traffic of black radicalism. That's how I kind of mine through dancehall for these insurgent ideas, which might not always be Pan-African, but this insurgent. And this is very important because as black people still struggling for liberation, we must use our culture in these kind of ways. We have to. It's what we have. The genesis of this project. Well, that's an interesting word, right? Because things have beginnings, but beginnings have beginnings too. So in my mindset, I feel like the genesis of this project, in a very Bermudian way, started this particular night. Oh. That should be 95. Right, exactly. See, 4 was already, right? No, he wasn't there, sister. But you, yes, thank you, good thanks. Right? We're already here, right? We already. Early one Sunday morning in 1995, deep before a dark and star-studded summer sky of Horseshoe Bay, Bermuda's premier reggae sound system, Soldier One, held a lightning-charged clash with celebrated British DJ David Roddigan. Roddigan started the musical battle at 1 a.m. as only he could.
Good evening, Bermuda. Under the moonlight. For those of you listening on cassette and tape in New York, Atlanta, London, Germany, and Japan, this is a history dance. This beach is round. This is Horseshoe Beach. The shape of a horseshoe. The moon is up, and as I look out into the bay, I see the ships have come in, boats rocking up and down in the bay with their spotlights on. So I must say, enough respect to Champagne Promotions for making it all possible. Also big request to Juggling Jason, all at your life crew. Jason out of Atlanta, old-time Bermuda homeboy. And of course, the mighty #1 rolling sound in Bermuda, the great Soldier One, with Magic and Bouncer Berkeley.
We're not even there yet. We're not even there yet. After opening with Bob Marley and some other tunes, Roddigan had the audacity to do this.
Please don't touch the turntable. You have to listen now. You have to listen.
I'm sure you all remember. You were there.
Miss Money, baby. I've just had a call from our office in Bermuda. We've got to get Agent 007 out there as quickly as possible. They've been approached by a David Cunningham, codenamed Magic, and a bouncer Buckley from Soldier One. It seems that the sound system serial killer David Roddigan was actually landed in Bermuda. He telephoned Power 95 to say that his next target would be Soldier One. Now, Magic and Buckley convinced the attack will take place on Saturday, the 15th of July, on the beach at Horseshoe Bay. Get down there as quickly as you can. He's going at Roddigan before he carries out another ruthless assassination.
It's not done yet. Here comes Capleton. Okay, we must move on. We're not leaving the moment. We're just moving forward a little bit. About half an hour later, Magic and Bouncer Berkeley responded as if unsinged by Roddigan's scorching start. And if you know this tune, you know this tune. If you don't know this tune, you should know this tune. If you want to rally Bermuda, like this was the song you would play. Junior Chin, Posse Move. Crowd's going crazy. Lighters, torches, the beach is on fire. That being said, this unforgettable night still haunts me. I intuitively felt then, as I understand much better now, that it was both captivating and ironic that the white, balding, London-based, but Hanover-born Radigan of Irish and Scottish ancestry ignited a clash in the British colony of Bermuda with brilliant invocations of Marley, MI6, and searing indictments of colonialism, white supremacy, and the Catholic Church. After all, Britain's Foreign and Commonwealth Office had incessantly harassed Bermuda's black radical tradition, where Babylon's dirtiest hits included a Chief Justice determination that Sally Bassett be burned alive for her role in the 1730 anti-slavery poisoning plot. British governors were so hostile to the UNIA and Marcus Garvey and the Bermuda Division. Oh, you can't even see that because it's foggy. Well, I'll just say it. This is a document that describes how Garvey was not let off the boat. The story is told in Nellie Munson's Mighty Onion Seed, and for decades, historians have been trying to grasp a concrete document wrapped around this oral tradition. I just found this document not too long ago. It also describes Amy Jacques Garvey's arrival a week before onto the island, the speeches she makes. It also describes the group of folks like Brownlow Place, who I interviewed when he was a juvenile member of the UNIA. He talked about being at the docks that day. And I believed him, but the historian also defined an intelligence document that also describes this. It's kind of how you stick the landing. This document belongs to Bermuda. We've been hunting for this document for decades. Ira Phillip got me close. I feel like a lot of my work is done. Dirtiest hits include the attacks on Black Power, leading to the radicalism of Buck Burroughs. Special Branch's first document surveilling Rastafari is 1973. That's what makes all of this so audacious. The criminalization of reggae and dancehall culture in Bermuda is part and parcel with the criminalization of Caribbean culture and music in the UK. This is Claudia Jones, Trinidadian, Marxist, communist, deported from the United States, writes about the triple exploitation of women, class, race, and gender before it's popular. Deported to London. It's part of the Bim Rush generation. Creates one of the first black newspapers in London, the West Indian Gazette. Founds Notting Hill Carnival. Negroes wouldn't be in Notting Hill having carnival if it wasn't for Claudia Jones. What does this have to do with Bermuda? Well, it's about, number one, the criminalization of our culture, but is it a crime? It's a big tune. I just wanted to play this, to be honest. That was just to play this song. Actually, that's not true. This was for Buju's comments about Afro beats and reggae that he made on Drink Champs. I know, but we must We must move on. But we should think about Claudia Jones when we think about music and dancehall and womanhood and different other archetypes of womanhood that usually is framed from Empress Menen to Lady Saw. Claudia Jones' axis is about the academics of black women, and maybe this idea of a black Cinderella is another archetype. Oh, by the way, sister to the left, she is Ethiopian. She actually fought in the Battle of Adwa in 1896. Then in 1935, when the Italians returned, she asked Haile Selassie for a donkey and a rifle so she could fight the Italians again. So I just had to, you know. When we think of archetypes of womanhood and radicalism, dancehall is also a vehicle for that. But that would be Sister Carol, Black Cinderella, but we gotta move on, Sister Carol, we gotta move on. This is Duke Vin, who is on board that Windward ship. Now, we should know Bermudians are the second largest number on the ship that's going to Britain. So when we think about the Windward generation, if Bermuda's not in it, then something's not right with the story. So when we think about black culture in London in a 20th century context, Bermuda's there. And this is also magic of Soldier One's story, right? Magic, at some point after developing Root Boy, he travels to London, he joins sound system Saxon. This inspires him to come back to Bermuda to even build the sound Soldier One. So it matters. So, Soldier One. Why Soldier One, right? Soldier One, without question, is part of a bigger generation of sound system culture in Bermuda. For example, one of the earliest impacts of reggae in Bermuda is a show called Reggae 69, where artists like Prince Buster, who you might know as a ska artist, sound system innovator, comes to Bermuda along with Hortense Ellis. They tour the Caribbean. They come to Bermuda, it's great. They're accosted in Guyana, where they're threatened. They make any comments about the government, bad things might happen. This is something we should think about when we think about legacies of Walter Rodney. Guyana has been a violent place in terms of power and dictatorship for a long time. To the right is an article from Fame magazine. Shows Family Affairs Boutique. You could buy reggae albums, tracks. Definitely one of the biggest innovators for reggae and dancehall, Dub City International. And so in the early 1970s, Kent, Father Dub Outerbridge, who recently passed, began traveling to Jamaica to buy records and sell them out of his home. In 1974, he established Dub City Retail International, which distributed records, albums, cassettes in Court Street and Cottage Hill. He and his life partner, Oliver May Smith, built Dub City into a sound system and a record label, and it became a haven for reggae artists, Rastafari faith, Black diaspora's engagement. As we mentioned, from the corners of Dub City, you could find cassettes from all across the world. This is very important when we think about the session and the sound system space in Bermuda, as I would argue is not just a space of music. Like, these are sites of Black Bermudian identity formation, space of coming of age for youth, diaspora culture exchange, technical innovation, and a semi-autonomous space that's policed and surveilled, but there's still some, you might have to think twice. Bermuda has, for a small island, quite a large number of sounds. I would invite the audience. Let's name some of our sounds from the 80s and the 90s. Okay, didn't know that one. No, I'm joking. I'm just playing with my dear friend. Some others: Nuclear Weapon, Firestone, Genesis, Diamond Emperor, Playboy, Awesome, Harlem, Jalife, Embassy Crew, African Pride, Modern Song. That's a lot of Lone Star. It's a lot of sounds for a small space. Embassy, Ecstasy, yes. In the 90s, sessions were held, and the audience says, Everywhere, right? But see, and that's the thing. It is everywhere, right? So I think sometimes when it's everywhere, we kind of just keep going because it's everywhere. But when we slow down, right, we can see like the everywhere is also kind of complex. How does something become everywhere? You know, like how? So PCC, Clay House, Empty House, Devonshire Rack, Peaksfield, White Hill, Swapbox, Dandyton, Tills Hill, Swinging Doors. These are all sites of cultural heritage that should be seen as that. Like, it does us no good to say, oh, that's somebody else's culture. Really? And why are all of we in it? And why is it everywhere, as mentioned? We should take it more serious. And this, for me, you know, in doing this project, I went from being a fan of the music and the culture to actually saying, wait a minute, I've actually learned a whole ton of new things I did not know. And I think that's part of, that happens when, you know, we haven't really went through a really extensive process of building national culture in a way that in other spaces. And this doesn't mean they haven't had attempts, but it's hard to sustain this kind of work. It's challenging, it's really hard. Because you have to hit the thing at so many different angles, right? It's not just history, right? It's anthropology, it's our interviews, it's art, it's youth development. It's a really difficult challenge to hold the thing. These sounds, which at times have their own record labels, also produce a ton of local artists, like Lady Tyson. Just see. Fat Joe, Junior C, Sister Carol, Corvin Melody. Mind you, this is also occurring under the leadership of the United Bermuda Party, which witnesses all of this with great anxiety and laws and sound ordinances that target black spaces. So, for example, in 1989, the UBP passes the Noise Pollution Act, stated that loud music that was an annoyance between midnight and 6 a.m. could resist in a police force issued summons. This was amended in 1994 to be effective 24 hours a day. Now, it would be, how do I say it? Not totally honest to just say Soldier One is simply a, simply a part of this tradition, just without any tension, right? Without any other factors. I think we do that all the time. We say, oh yeah, we've been doing that, Yeah, we've been doing that. Yeah, we've been out at Court Street playing tunes, been doing that. Been giving police chase. Okay, what about the agency of the moment? Like, there is intentionality from Rude Boy to Soldier One. If we look at the music, right, this transformation in the 90s, where artists like Buju become a Rasta, become more overtly politically conscious, and there are these other lines of consciousness versus slackness that's creating. But this is why sound system culture is important, because sound system culture puts the supposed slackness and consciousness in the same space. There's a consciousness part of the dance, there's a slack part of the dance. You're gonna hear 7 Miles of Black Star Liners from Fredlocks, and you're gonna hear Lady Saw. Same dance? Yeah, same dance, yeah. And what you do with that is what you do with that. But to say there's absence of politics because you heard one part of the session, oh, I get it, you just heard one part of, Reggae Gold. Because Reggae Gold is also putting this music in the same context. Capleton's next to Merciless, for example. So when we think of Soldier One, and I said it already, I'm going to try to speed up a little bit. Who was Soldier One's base? Like, who are these rambunctious youth that want to go see Soldier One destroy Roddy Gunn? Like, destroy Roddy Gunn. Because this is freedom fighter versus empire. This is just not a dance. Like, this is, we want independence. And even though we know that the referendum is lost, it doesn't, the vote, the official vote doesn't speak to the grassroots politics and the mindset of folks. Like, politics is not just at a ballot box. Politics is me arguing with my folks and saying, oh, you think Roddy Gunn won because you're a bald head. That's why. If you were have more black consciousness, it's obvious that Soldier One won. What are you talking about? Most of these youth in the 90s who are now going to go to these sessions were born in the insurgent 1970s, who were children of the Black Power movement. We come of age. It's maybe the first time we could vote. The session is a critical space of political education sonically for us. It's engaging various cultural, political, religious orientations, Christian, Muslim, Hebrew Israelite, Seventh-day Adventist, Rastafari. We'll come to age in the global 1990s. In the context of Bermuda, what's the 90s? Shooting that spinning wheel, that's a big deal for us as a community. Like, how do we process that? Like, what does the sound system space do for that? Operation Clean Sweep? The new CCTV cameras? What is this? Rebecca Middleton? The Miami 11? The closure of U.S. military bases in Bermuda? And, Eureka, the PLP's first victory in '98. And if you recall, sound system culture, think of sound system culture as also stage show culture, was very crucial to the PLP's victory. It was a very sonic victory for the youth, for the voters. I've mined sound system clash in Bermuda. These things are being talked about. Independence is being talked about. Farrakhan visits Bermuda after being denied entry to the UBP government. These things are huge in the microcosm of Bermuda, much less, the broader international politics of the 90s. For example, if you think of the 90s not as a decade, but as an era that's not just marked by zeros. U.S. invasions of Grenada, Panama, Iran-Contra affair, Vietnam, wars, beef drugs, Nelson Mandela's presidency, South Africa, before that, the anti-apartheid movement, global black uprising against police brutality. We could go on. The police bombing of Philadelphia's Move in the 80s, U.S. imperialism in Somalia, Libya, Rwanda, Burundi, Ethiopia, Eritrea, Hurricanes Hugo and Katrina, Palestine's intifadas. Broadly, what we're talking about is also the Afrocentric movement that's been trivialized and not really studied like it should as a movement, not just some ideas of folks who like books. But what does that mean for these students in Bermuda who love sound system culture and also travel, and some attend Bermuda College, HBCUs, PWIs, across the world? They come home during intense moments of summer winter breaks, transformed by the transnational experiences with racism, black popular culture, and black thought. I remember the day when the Rodney King uprising took place. I was sitting home comfortably, I might add. Might have had some delicious vegan something. And all of a sudden, I'm watching Rap City and Far Side. She keeps on passing me by. Next thing you know, boom, you go to LA. I'm like, whoa, what is this? Then there's an OJ trial. And then you come home and you want to talk about where were you when it happened? Like, what was it like on your campus or your city? And many of these exchanges take place at the intersections of sound system venues. sessions, stage shows, weddings, coffees, breakfasts, cricket, football games, cookouts, hair salons, church, barbershops, holders, dojos, bingies, and bookstores like True Reflections. These are informal political spaces that we haven't really looked at, I think, as a political soundscape like we should. How was my time, by the way? It's time? Okay, so I was told it's time, but before I go, I'm gonna leave us with a dub plate, because I gotta play my dub plates. I've been watching Roots' book club on YouTube, and I've been intrigued by this conversation around Walter Rodney, so I thought I would offer one of my dub plates to that conversation. Part of my method is, as I mentioned, looking through political crisis affecting black communities, or looking at moments of black political crisis, listening to sound system performances and seeing our sound system talking about these things, if sound systems are about news. And so Rodney, Caribbean's probably most celebrated historian, Black Power advocate, we know was assassinated by the Burnham dictatorship. What you're gonna hear is a sound system performance by an artist named Louis Lepke, who also was killed, playing for a song called Jack Ruby. This is in California, this is 1982. Just a sample. Here he comes. And I believe that would be